Steve. Now we're here with Charles Grande, who's running for County Commissioner in St. Lucie County, Florida. Paradise, USA. Mr. Grande, it's good to be here. You know, it's a beautiful October day, and what do you think about that little cool spell that we got last night? That little wind that came down there, you know, it cooled off a bit.
If ever there was, this is the perfect day in paradise.
Absolutely. You know, I think all the snowbirds coming down, when they're driving their cars, they're dragging that air down with them for a little bit cooler. Now, all kidding aside, you know, we can't control the weather or anything like that, but we can control the flow of that water from Lake Okeechobee into our lagoon, and our viewers would like to know what your thoughts are on it.
Really pleased that we're doing this right here in front of the lagoon. We're in Fort Pierce, and this is probably the cleanest part of the Indian River Lagoon. Why is that? Because of this inlet. We get better flushing here than anywhere else on the lagoon. And that points out the situation where the problems are different in different areas of the lagoon. We're in the southern part of the lagoon, and the single largest problem we have here are discharges from Lake Okeechobee. It's not rocket science. We know year in and year out, if we get Lake Okeechobee water, it's going to damage the lagoon almost irreparably. If we don't get discharges, the flushing impacts of the inlets here and down at the St. Lucie Inlet actually can bring the lagoon back quickly and keep it healthy. So where we need to concentrate is stop the discharges. We know that there's only one way that we can ever get the discharges stopped. That is, send the water south. We need to store, clean, and convey Lake Okeechobee water south to the Everglades. They need the fresh water there. South Bay is starving for fresh water. Fresh water is poison to this estuary. We need to maintain a saltwater, freshwater balance that supports the life systems here. Lake O discharges are what's killing the seagrass, it's what's causing the animal life problems, and it must be stopped. We need to be really careful because we keep hearing of all of these other projects, funding expensive projects that Big Sugar is looking to help us with. And the reason they're doing that is because those projects don't impact them. We need to buy the land by exercising the options that Charlie Crist arranged for. We need to build the flowway south. We need to keep the fresh water from hitting here. The other thing that we need to do, and this is the season to talk about it, is we need to put people in Washington, in Tallahassee, and in your local county government who understand what the problems are and are willing to work on the ultimate solution, the flowway south. We've got a young guy who's 2 years in Congress and has changed the whole complexion here. That's Patrick Murphy. He didn't know everything going in, but he surrounded himself with people who knew, and he asked questions. And he's making a difference. We all went up to Washington to talk to him at his invitation. Nobody else did that, and that's making a difference. Last year at the locks, we had 5,000 people come out in one day. That made people wake up. If you look now in Tallahassee, we've got Larry Lee. He's doing the same thing. Larry Lee was never an expert on the water, but he knew how much he knew and how much he didn't know. He put together a group of people who know what needs to be done to help the water. They're advising him, and he's making a difference in Tallahassee. Here in St. Lucie County, we have Chris Sadowski, who's a county commissioner. Unfortunately, he's the only sitting commissioner in St. Lucie County who truly understands the problems. He needs help. He needs people who see things the same way he does. He needs people who are going to work to get the flowway south built so that these waters will be as clean as they can for us, but more importantly for our children. I'm running for county commissioner in District 4 here in St. Lucie County so that we can have a majority on this commission who will work to get the flowway going south, stop the discharges, and clean up the water here. This can only be done with your help, all of us. Larry Lee, Patrick Murphy, and myself, Charles Grande. We need your vote on Tuesday, Election Day in November. Thank you.
Charles, let's talk about Plan 6. What exactly is Plan 6? Tell our viewers what that is. I'm a little hazy myself.
Back before we were here,
Right.
there was a river of grass from Lake Okeechobee south through the Everglades and out the southern end of Florida.
Okay.
That river moved slowly, and as the water went, the plant life in that flowway took up all of the nutrients, the phosphorus, the nitrogen, and clean fresh water reached the Everglades.
Okay.
That's what we need to replicate. Plan 6 was developed by the Army Corps of Engineers in the 90s. And at that time, the Corps said, this is the best and most cost-effective way of solving all the problems.
What's stopping Plan 6 from being implemented?
Big Sugar has made incredible contributions to our elected officials. They have tremendous amount of influence in Tallahassee and in Washington, and they're sitting between the lake and the Everglades. Now, what they've done for years is they've said they're coming after us, they want to put us out of business. Well, the truth is, Plan 6 only needs about 10% of their land. And if you think about it, they've been overproducing by more than 10% every year.
I think they make enough money from subsidies from the taxpayers, if you ask me. I think they should be able to give up a little bit of something.
Well, that's the point. Everything over their sales capacity by contract with the U.S. government is purchased by the government and given away to ethanol producers. So it's your tax money that's paying for the sugar that's grown on this acreage. And it's only about 55,000 acres that we need to fill in the missing link between the lands that we already own south of that lake and the lake itself. It's the land between the North New River Canal and the Miami Canal, from the lake down to the storage treatment areas.
Okay.
That would have a 10% impact on their output. They would be fully compensated for the land because of the prices in the option. The option, if we were to exercise it today, is an option at the market price. So they lose nothing, they become heroes instead of villains, the problems get solved, and all of the other projects become a whole lot less time dependent, because we take the vast majority of the nutrients out of the southern half of the Indian River Lagoon.
Charles, on another subject, it's not about the water, but we also have another issue with this train, this passenger rail train, high-speed train that's going to be running 32 trains a day right through our town, right down Indian River Drive. The bridge is going to be down most of the time. We're going to have an impact on boats and things like that. So I guess it is a bit of a water issue as well. What do you know about this train that they're running through to Miami?
Well, the funny thing is, my background in business has been in finance, and projects like this, I always look at first financially. Is it possible to justify a project like this? And the answer with this one, it clearly fails. There is no way people are going to want to pay the kind of money that they're asking for to take a train from Orlando to Miami, when you could drive it down the Florida Turnpike in almost the same amount of time for a whole lot less money, and you have your car with you when you get there.
Leave when you want.
And if it's two people,
right,
husband and wife, or a couple doing it, the savings by driving are just incredible. Putting a family on the train probably will cost 8 to 10 times as much as it would to drive. And then you have a family at a destination, which is a train station. Not Disney World, not Miami Beach.
This isn't like a commuter stop where they're going to stop little trips down from, like, say, Jupiter and Palm Beach up to Stewart, Jensen, Vero, Fort Pierce. They're not going to have a bunch of stops where people can hop back and forth. They're just going to blow right through our town and just impact us.
Well, for
and
us,
we get no benefit from it.
For us locally, there's no benefit, and there's all kind of impact. But the train itself makes no sense, even for passengers. because from door to door, there's no time savings and there's a whole lot more cost involved. And you wind up at your destination without your own transportation.
Isn't this a private business? I don't understand why taxpayers are funding a private business. I mean, I've been in business before, and the taxpayers didn't pay my way through my business. I did it on my own.
Because the rail authority that they're applying for the loan from, their job is to increase rail facilities within the United States. So they're only too willing to front the money for this. Now, Florida,
whether it's successful or whether it fails, it doesn't matter as long as they get the money out.
Is it going to succeed or fail? Florida East Coast Railway has decided already it's going to fail. That's why they set it up as a separate All Aboard Florida Corporation.
Okay.
That corporation is going to take the loan. That corporation will not own a sufficient amount of collateral so that when this fiasco goes belly up,
right,
the taxpayers will not be made whole. As a matter of fact, once that passenger service is in place, as lightly used as it will be, it'll be very, very hard to shut it down because those people who do use it, the few, will demand that it stay in place, and we're going to wind up subsidizing.
It sounds like it's going to run in the red. Every single year it'll run in the red.
Absolutely. So we, the taxpayer, are going to pay to build it, and we, the taxpayer, will contribute to the ongoing cost of operating it.
It sounds like they're trying to railroad us, and I don't want to be railroaded. That's for sure.
There's a good.
Our viewers don't want to be railroaded.
This is truly a lose-lose proposition.